So did y'all know that Florida is actually 4 different states? Let me break it down for you because people call me all the time saying, hey, I want to relocate to Florida. I'm moving here from New York or Pennsylvania or Indiana, Iowa or Michigan or Minnesota. Doesn't matter where. We get people from all over the country looking to come to Florida. And one of the things that they don't realize most of the time is that Florida is such a large state, has a huge amount of diversity in terms of the different regions, the different areas, the different cities, the different cultures, and the different climates. So I thought this would be a fun way to kind of break it down for everybody, give you a feel for what my take on the different states of Florida are. So let's start with North Florida. North Florida, I refer to as Southern Georgia. Figure like the northern part of the state where come down to like Jacksonville, St. Augustine area and across the top over into the Panhandle. And the reason I call this South Georgia is because I see it as very Southern hospitality, just like an extension of Southern Georgia is. Southern charm, lots of small towns, older towns, historic towns like that. You do have the more metropolitan area of Jacksonville, which is more like big city. Then you've got St. Augustine, which has a ton of history. Across the center of the state is a bunch of little smaller towns here and there. And then over in the Panhandle, you get to, or as you go to the Panhandle, you get to Gainesville and cool little college town. And then, of course, Spring Break Central, which is the Panhandle beaches. Central Florida, to me, is like the Nevada of the East. And the reason I compare it to Nevada is because it is, of course, the home of the mouse. Vegas is referred to as the Disneyland for adults. So you've got Disney, you've got Universal, you've got all of that in Orlando. And then the rest of Central Florida, which is like the rest of Nevada, I don't know that anybody really knows what's actually there. I'm kidding. It is actually really beautiful country, lots of farmland. It is, Ocala is horse country. That's all Central Florida. So really interesting. Think of it as Nevada in a steam room because of course it's Florida. So most of it is pretty hot and humid. Or you look at it the other way as Nevada is Central Florida in a sauna. Either way you want to split it, you got hot and humid or hot and dry. Then we've got Southwest Florida, which is basically the Midwest. So when we're talking states, take your favorite Midwest state. It is the Midwest with the most amazing beaches in the world. I say that because there are multiple beaches all up and down Southwest Florida that have been rated the top beaches in the world, literally. So I don't care if your favorite Midwest state is Iowa or Ohio or Michigan or Minnesota, Indiana, Illinois, doesn't matter. Take your pick. It's very, very similar to Southwest Florida. We've got the big cities, if you like the more metropolitan areas, in Tampa or Sarasota. Plenty of walkability there in both of those cities. Tons of stuff to do. Professional sports in Tampa. All the big things like you're used to in the big cities in the Midwest. Then you've also got the suburbs. You've got Venice, Fort Myers, Punta Gorda. And if you want to go to the really expensive high-end suburbs, you got Naples. Marco Island, and then of course the beautiful beaches, Sanibel, Captiva, Amelia Island, Siesta Key, and all the Casey Key and all of that stuff up and down the entire West Coast. And then last but not least, you've got the Florida state of Miami. Let's call it comparable to New York City, in that people from New York City are never going to say they're from New York. They're always going to say New York City, or if they do say New York, they assume that you assume that they mean New York City. Same with Florida and Miami. People from Miami say they're from Miami. They don't say they're from Florida typically. Tons of nightlife, tons of activities, tons of stuff to do, all the professional sports that you can want, everything you want, need, fantastic restaurants. And for those of you that like to be around that but don't necessarily want to live in it, so like, you live in Connecticut or, any of the other suburbs of New York City, you've got Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach Gardens, the Palm Beaches. You've got all of this area around Miami that is basically just a big suburb of Miami. So tell me what you think. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you disagree. Let's have a conversation. What did I miss? What did I get right? Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.